Hello. Wait a minute. Welcome to Current Exposure. What is going on with the camera? Let's put it on high def. Oh. Hold on. Trying to get the camera right. Okay. Okay. All right. We are live. We are live. Let's see. Welcome, Current Exposure. I missed you all. Let me know if you cannot hear me. Let me move the mic up closer. Let's put the mic. All right. Welcome. Okay, so I'm waiting. Hold on. This is Kevin Jenkins on the line. Hello, Kevin. You jumping on? Yes. Yes. I sent it to you. So all you have to do is click the link. Yes. Okay. All righty. Bye-bye. Okay, that was our guest, Kevin Jenkins. We are going to have Kevin on, and I know you guys love when Kevin comes on because he gives it to you straight and raw. You all love the civil discourse, and that's the type of feedback that I've been getting in the past. So let's see here. Get on to the live, everybody. Get into the comments. We will be talking about the Newark Public Schools spending millions of dollars on takeout or catering for staff events, and the kids don't even have decent lunches or any options for lunch. We're going to talk about Alina Habba coming to Newark, accepting Mayor Raz J. Baraka's invitation. We're going to talk about the 24-hour plus marathon of filibuster that Cory Booker executed these past couple of days. And what else are we going to talk about? Let's see. What else do we have up here on the lineup? Let's see. Oh, we're also going to talk about what a Republican governor means for the city of Newark. So let me bring Kevin Jenkins on. Hello, Kevin. It's so good to see you.
You know, look, Sakima, I'm doing this because I just love what you're doing.
Thank you.
But I had a long day today.
Oh, man.
No, which
I
is
appreciate
good.
you coming on.
Day. Don't get me wrong. It's very positive. But I don't have that. I try to stay in shape. I do all of that. Sometimes I'm like this.
but you look good. I mean, the guys that I see in my office your age, they're bent over on a cane and they're telling me that time just flew by and they wish they had a listen and did this today. A gentleman said he wished he would have taken the highway instead of the street route.
Yeah. Well, we're over medicated as a group of people.
Yeah.
The medical industry and the pharmaceutical industry has destroyed just not Black America, but this country.
Right.
And I think what's happening about making America great again, I think what Bobby's doing, I've known really well. We did a documentary called Medical Racism. I mean, it's time for Black Americans to start to reevaluate our relationship with food in the medical industry. Right. And if we can do that, we can save several generations. Right now, we're destined for death. And I mean, I just got to tell you, obesity, kidney failure,
Right, right,
All
right.
of these
Yeah.
things, all of these things are not
High
hereditary.
blood pressure.
Yeah, all of these things are not hereditary. When they tell, oh, it's hereditary, that's bullcrap. You can correct these things. Listen, I worked with Gail for 3 years because Gail wanted to do it the natural way, right?
Okay.
I mean, of course she had the surgery, but it's been like almost 15 years since she had the surgery.
Oh, okay.
And, we started talking about nutrients. We started talking about clean water. We started talking about grass-fed eggs. We started talking about
Hmm.
grass-fed beef and all of the protein that she needs.
Right,
And I think she's faring very well, and she
right.
takes it serious. And of course, we have an advantage.
She looks good too.
Well, that's
I
what I'm
saw
saying. But
her
she did it,
recent
but she,
videos.
yeah, but she did it the old-fashioned way outside of the surgery she had because she promoted that. But it's
Uh-huh.
been 15 years now. And Gail kind of went up and down, and then she started taking real control because we started learning so much. And
Okay.
we're human, we can do this. It depends on our state of mind, it depends on our
Right.
energy, it depends on frequency. But I'm very proud of her because she will say, oh, I'm not doing well this quarter. I got to change.
Okay.
Now she's got it in her brain that if something goes wrong, she's got to fix it.
Self-awareness.
Right. So
That's
I'm very impressed.
self-awareness.
I'm just proud of her that she's taking control of her own health.
Okay.
But I'm not going to lie, she has an advantage that the average person doesn't. And she's saying that when she's elected, she's going to be concentrating on health.
I like that. I like that.
And,
Let's get to that.
she's
Let's
going
get back.
to,
Kevin, remember when Newark had not food trucks, the fruit trucks,
yeah.
where you can go buy plums, peaches,
We got to go back to that.
watermelon. Right,
I think we need to have
I
a
love
global,
that.
I think we need to have the global food market in Newark. Now that I'm saying it, they're going to do it, but they will never do it right.
Yeah,
Because if you go to Brooklyn, if you go to Manhattan, if you go to other parts of New York, they have these huge open food markets where you can get clean food.
right.
And I think the best thing you can do is to clean up your fluoride in your toothpaste, clean up your fluoride in your mouthwash,
Uh-huh.
to eat grass-fed stuff, use as much tallow and butter as you can, eat as much meat as you can, proper meat,
Right,
everybody says it's so expensive. I said, well, you're just going to the wrong places. So
right.
sometimes I'll go to Costco's. People say, wow. I said, you don't understand. They have the best organic section, that I've ever seen. Now, I might go to Sprouts. I don't really go to Whole Foods too much because Whole
Okay.
Foods they full of crap. But you might find some things like if you're still giving your kids fluoride water, you're still giving your kids fluoride toothpaste, right?
Wow.
If you're still giving your kids fructose syrup, if you're still cooking in trans fats as opposed to like beef, like how your grandmother used to keep the fat from the pork.
Yes,
That
yes,
was the health,
yes.
even though it's from the pork, from the
Right,
pig, it was healthy. It
right,
didn't have
right,
all of those GMO. It didn't have all of that.
right.
GMOs is
It was
huge
real
part.
food. It was
Right.
real food.
So
We
if
were living longer.
look at us now.
Yeah, dying. We're dying.
We're 65% obese.
Yeah, that too.
I
That
heard
too.
I heard a woman online. I don't know if you saw it. Somebody sent it to me, where she was equating obesity to racism. I said, well, I see where she was going. She said, but I'm tired of people saying I'm fat and it's racist. I was like, you only
Oh
fat
gosh.
because of the food. Now it's not her fault. It's because of the food that she was eating.
What
It's
is she
because,
eating? Like
well, she
triple
tried to blame
Italian
her
hot
obesity.
dogs and with extra cheese and double meat?
No, what she, I think what she was trying, it just came across the wrong way. But how are you going to blame obesity on racism? Now, I could connect that dot. Now, actually, I could say she might be right. But what are you going to do to change the condition of your health? Why has it got to be based on somebody else doing? Now, if
I agree. I agree. And I think I seen that same lady.
she was outrageous. She's like, I'm tired of people saying fat. I said, wait a minute. Nobody's fat shaming you. But if you're 200 pounds overweight, you're not healthy.
But what is she? The thing is, what is she really eating? Let's be real about that. And then now I disagree with the body weight chart.
Yeah,
I
everything
think
they
that's
told you,
racist. I think
everything they
that's
told
connected
you,
to eugenics
the
because
pyramid, everything they
right,
told you, cholesterol, everything, high
right,
blood pressure, everything they told
right.
you.
So yeah, I believe that was racist and it was tailored to white people who came up with it for white people.
But can I be honest with you? If you go to rural America, they have suffering the same issue as we are.
Oh,
If you go
really?
to poor America, this is the same.
Wow.
And when people put race on it, I was like, well, you haven't been to the Midwest. You haven't been to the heartland. You ever
Right,
been
right,
anywhere?
right, right.
If you go to the
Absolutely.
Midwest, you
I
see the
think
same thing.
I think it's just poor eating habits,
Well, it's
basically.
just not eating habits, it's the poison in your food. So I'll give you an
That as
example.
well. That as
You
well.
know what we should do? You know what we should do the next time I'm around? Let's do a show in ShopRite. I got another name for it, but I won't do it on this show. But
Okay.
let's go to ShopRite. Put on your little
Okay.
mic and let's go to every item in the store is poison. They're serving up a healthy dose of poison and those that in that supermarket and other
Yeah.
supermarkets that I've
Yeah.
never seen before. So that's
That's
another discussion for
yeah.
another
The
day.
processed food, right?
Processed food, everything. Like
See,
I
and
tell
that's
people
yeah.
when they tell me they're a vegan, I bust out laughing. I said, "You're very sick. If you're not eating meat, chicken, tallow, butter, that's the best recipe. If you're not you are eating liver and all those things that our grandmother did with us,
Right, right. The liver, yes. The liver
they
is still
everything the medical industry and the pharmaceutical industry and the food agriculture industry lied to us.
yeah, I agree. The liver has me healthy from eating it
But
all through my youth.
I'm taking liver pills, right?
Okay.
That's helping me heal my liver and heal my kidneys. I did a detax 2 weeks ago. You're gonna love this. I did a detox 3 years ago. I didn't drink. I didn't do anything. I almost died. I said, I'm never doing it again. You were laughing. Yeah, I was away, and I was like, yeah, I think I'm gonna die. She said, how could you? I'm so extreme that I like. Oh, I'm gonna do this. I'm going to just do a fucking 10-day fast. I almost lost my mind.
Wow,
I will
10
never do it
days.
again. When I came back to New Jersey, I said, Gail, I don't know what I did to myself. I'm just gonna stay in bed for another 2 days. I laugh at myself because I can be really stupid about so many. If you can't laugh at yourself, shame on you. I tell jokes about myself. I was on the floor like, Gail, you got to come and help me. I don't know what to do. My body was going through so many changes. I called my mother. My mother said, you better go get a goddamn drink. I said, Mom,
She said, get a drink.
I said, I've been so clean. And I didn't know I had as much as I think I know, you never know. So when you do these extreme detox, you
Uh-huh.
gotta really just slowly do it. I think I'm Superman, right? I'm like, I am not, I thought I literally didn't get out of bed for 3 days. The reason I got out the fourth day, because I couldn't smell myself anymore. I said,
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
I can laugh about it. Because if you can't laugh
Wait.
at yourself, nobody should take you serious. I was a complete idiot. I called my mother.
Wow.
You have any scotch in the house? I said, what does scotch have to do with this? You better take a drink, boy, because you're going through. I said, no, Mom, I'm not going to do it. The third day, I was like, oh my God. I said, and then I came up here because I lost my first cousin, who was my brother, Derek Green, who's Wally Green. Of course, everybody knows majority of my family is Muslim. And he was my brother.
Okay.
Him and his brother are my brothers. Me and my brother grew up with them as brothers, and I lost him. So it was a very trying time in our family because I
Mhm.
love everyone and I love my family. And I was heartbroken, and I'm very
Wow.
heartbroken to see so many young people, younger than me, that are dying because
Yeah.
they're forced to take
Yeah.
criminal biologic. That our people are not even saying, why are so many of us dying at such an early age? We're
It's a
just
lot.
sitting around like, well, he had cancer. That's bullshit. He didn't just have cancer. He has turbo cancer.
Right.
These kids that are being sick now, all these people, we should be. You want to talk about systemic racism? You want to talk about the corporation of white supremacy? Well, Big Pharma demonstrated that when they forced you and mandated you to take an experimental biologic that was going to rewrite the DNA of your faith, rewrite the DNA of your DNA.
Wow. Ooh.
So when people are around here talking, I'm like, you're a fucking idiot. You don't understand. Don't talk to me about white supremacy when you listen to the World Health Organization, or you listen to Bill Gates, or you listen to Fauci, who this
Right.
is his third time around of screwing us. If we look at
Right.
Africa, when Gates moved into Africa and gave us all of the polio drops and the polio cubes, they had to kick his ass out of India. He's a war criminal. He's
Mm.
he hates people. He hates,
Wow.
he's a
Wow.
genocidal maniac. But that's a discussion for another day. So whatever you
We're
want to
gonna
talk
have
about.
that. But let's talk about what really piqued my interest. Are some of the posts that you have been doing, and I reshared the institutional corruption going on in the Newark public schools.
It's not just the Newark public schools. If you look at the greater Essex County, if you look at New Jersey, if you look at Newark in particular, at least in the last 8 years, well, between Booker and Barack, I call it the B&B program to destroy Newark.
Wow,
Booker and Barack,
B&B.
B&B. Everybody should capture that and try to use it.
B&B.
But at the end of the day, it's not about all of that stuff. What they have done is they have destroyed the infrastructure of competent leadership, the infrastructure of people that want to really fight back against institutional corruption. So institutional corruption is what Doge is doing, which Obama tried to do, which Clinton tried to do, which Reagan tried to do, which Bush tried to do. Everybody came in and said, we got to change government. We got to get rid of the waste. The reason they never did it because it was paying so many people and building wealth for them. So all of the radical left and all of the, traditional Republicans, right? I call them traditional Republicans. They made money. They built wealth for their families on the government, and they tell us to help them to continue their wealth patterns. And we don't get any benefit from that because we're proxies for everybody else's fight except ours. You've heard me say that for a long time. Right. So for me, I think that something is happening in the universe that people are paying attention. And I thank God for COVID, because when people were home, they started to unplug themselves and start listening to people that talked about some of the serious issues on credit, social scores, these mandates, trying to strip us of our human rights, trying to strip us of our body sovereignty. That happened in that time period. What they did to us was horrifying.
It was. It was.
That's something that we need to deal with. I think Americans are waking up. I believe so. And the ones that want to be mired in that crap, God bless them. We shouldn't fight with them. If you don't think that your bodies are broken, your health conditions have changed, and it's hurting our children and hurting our community, what are you going to say to a person like that?
What about the funding, the money that was spent to cater staffs?
Almost $500 billion.
Wow. And then they're not feeding the kids, though. They're not feeding the kids healthy lunches. They're feeding the kids.
You're talking about two things. You're talking about two things, Sakima. Healthy lunches is a really big issue. But if we don't change what's in our food, what's in our water, what's in our whatever juice think about it. If we don't do that, it doesn't matter. Right? If we don't fight back against that, and every Black American in the world, in particular Black America, not, Black Africa, and Black Africa understands it, but we can have a discussion on that about that in another day. But Black Americans need to understand nothing that your medical doctor is telling you outside of a real traumatic, like you got to have your heart ripped out and put a new one in, or you.
Oh my gosh! Yes.
No. But that is where you listen to a doctor, right? Because those are serious issues. But everything else, you don't really need a doctor for, because all he does is poison you. He gives you statins. He gives you high blood pressure medicine. He gives you all the on dialysis. He tells you when you're pre-diabetic, and when you get there 30 days later, oh, you're diabetic. We got to do this. And then if you look at all of the kidney dialysis centers, they're all around Black communities.
I've been seeing those spring up.
Planned Parenthood, they make their money off selling our fetuses. That's not a lie. And you know what Black people say? Abortion. Abortion is not a Black issue.
Right. I agree with you on that.
Margaret Sanger did not care about Black people. The Black church that supported her did not care about Black people. They care about the money, like the NAACP, the Ford Foundation. They will use us every day because we're so easy.
Right. That's true. And speaking of juice, today I have hibiscus tea.
Hibiscus tea is good.
I drink a lot of tea, so I make
raw hibiscus and put it in water.
Well, I have through Harney and Sons. I order my tea online. They're using raw hibiscus, and I steep it, and then I put my honey in it. I don't use sugar.
And make sure your honey is 100% honey.
Right, and that takes a lot. Right. You got to because they have fake honey out here.
Everything is fake
They
out there.
have
You gotta be
fake.
honest.
I couldn't believe it. I watched the documentary about that, and I'm like, oh my gosh, they were putting corn syrup in the honey.
Yeah, it's true. But you know what?
Yes.
I think Black Americans, I gotta tell you, as much as I can be a, you know, anti, I got to tell you, I think Black Americans are really waking up. I'm very proud of my people. I love my people. I just don't like
Okay.
dumb people that look like me and try to. I'm not big on that. I mean, but I got to tell
Right.
you, I'm very confident. This is the most confident I've been because I've analyzed social media. I've seen the
Uh-huh.
algorithms. There's a lot of
So
young
so
Black
you
people
feel
that
like the
see.
black people are waking up,
I
which
truly
is
do.
good, which
You
is
won't
good.
see it, but here's the deal: when people ask me about Israel, I say, "Well, I'm only interested in the Congo." They're like,
Mm.
wow. I said, well, are you talking about the Congo? I'm not interested in that. I'm interested in healing Africa so they can be the economic juggernaut so I can trade with them and do business with them. Outside of that,
Okay.
what do I need to be talking to them about? Unless they're prepared to lead the world, unless they're prepared to take back their resources, unless they're prepared to
Mm.
stop, Europeanizing every decision that they make. What the hell do I care about them for? When people say, I'm going to move back to Africa, I say, God bless you. I wish you the best of luck. I've been to Africa several times. Tanzania, Kenya, Ghana,
Wow. Nice.
all of these
Nice.
countries. You know where I would live at right now?
Where?
I would live in Burkina Faso, even if I live in
Okay.
just to see what they're doing and that general is doing, that young man is doing. It's that whole region. It's the old Mali region, the old Mali, you know,
Right.
place.
Right.
That is divine what they're
Wow.
doing. The
But what?
Europeans kicking out the French in particular, they're the greatest colonialists outside of the Dutch and the Portuguese
Yeah.
in America.
Yeah, something like that is going on in Timbuktu too, where they have the French are still there because the Hamas came in and took over, and now the French fought them, and it's now they want the French out, and the people who are the natives of Timbuktu want Timbuktu back. And
The European Union, the European countries outside of Italy, because I mean, what Italy did to Ethiopia, we still have to deal. We have to address that. But
mm,
Europe, we should not even be interested in anything that's happening in Europe. Europe is a hot mess. And when I hear people talking to me, well, I'm going to France, I said, they don't even like your ass there.
wow.
Like, I was offered a lot of money to go to a country, and Gail was like, "You're not going to do it." I said, "Oh, hell no, I'm not going to do
Where was it? Was it
it. I'll
France?
tell you offline.
Oh,
I'll tell you." And they offered me a whole lot of money. And I was like, "Oh, hell no. When I get off that plane, I'll be locked up. I'll be a dissident in the country." Only my immediate family understood because it was a lot of money. I was like, "Oh, hell no, I won't do that."
so what do you think about the comments that people are saying about term limits and career
Well, listen, I
politicians?
believe there
And
should
I
be.
know we weren't going to talk about Gail's run, but
Look, it doesn't make a difference. You can
so
talk about
what
what
do
you want.
you, yeah, what do you think about that? Because she's coming back.
Well, she doesn't.
Um
She's not term limited because she's had breaks in her.
right, right. Right, and I
She's
get
not.
that, but people feel like, oh, why is she back?
No, they're
She's a part of
ridiculous.
the
No,
da, 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 da.
Gail is the most.
No,
Look, outside her being my wife, let's just push that to the side.
okay.
Gail has always been one of the most effective legislators in the state and in the country.
Mm,
So all of those people that are saying why she's coming back, well, they haven't been around long enough. But the people that understand her impact on this city, her impact on economic development, her impact on health, her impact on social issues, her impact on children, and I mean, you can't dispute that.
right,
So all of
right,
these
right.
people that are running for office, promote what you're doing, but you're not going to beat her at the table when it comes to housing development. All of these critical issues. Gail is really talented.
She definitely had
Now
the
you don't have to
housing
like
issue.
Gail. You don't have
She
to
had
like.
the house.
You don't have to like her, but she's good. And you know what?
She had the housing issue locked down. No,
If you see what
there
Gail
was
did,
no homeless people during her term. There were no homeless people, Kevin.
you know what though? You should bring Gail on your show and talk to her. I don't like to promote her as self-promoter because I'm like, I'm her husband, but I'm very practical. If Gail was a weak elected official, I would be against my wife. And you know me. Y'all
Yeah,
been
I know
around
you
me.
would. Yeah, you
I'm the-
you would
you should run for anything. I'm like,
Right. You
you should
definitely
quit
would.
now. Gail
Right.
is
You
very
definitely would.
deliberate. One of the things about her, Gail is very deliberate about what she believes in. Like what you see in the economic and housing development space, she would have never
Yes.
allowed to happen. What you see
Right.
with procurement and contracts, she would never allow to happen. You
Right.
saw how the position she took on housing years ago, and it was proven, she
Yes.
was proven right. You saw when they was
Yes.
trying to close down St. Michael's, what she did, 1,400 jobs. The union
Right.
supported her. It stabilized the community. It stabilized their real estate. And when people are out there talking, I'm like, excuse my
They don't know
language.
anything.
What the fuck are you talking about? You ain't been around. I said she was there for it all. Hank Martinez, Tony, as a young girl,
Right.
and they loved Gail, Donald Tucker, Sharp James, George Brandt. I could go on.
Yeah.
They loved her because she understood the business of how to motivate public policy to change your life. Now, I'm a husband. I get it. But guess what? If Gail was on the she said, Kevin doesn't buy. If I come to Kevin with some shit, he'd be like, you must have lost your mind, Gail. You better go and read this. All of my family knows they keep me out of everything now. So if you notice, you don't really see me because I'm like, what the hell? This is ridiculous. Even my friends that are working for Gail campaign. Wait a minute. All of my friends that are working for Gail campaign, this is Kevin. I was like, I don't want to hear that shit. That's crazy.
Oh,
we're friends. We're friends though.
Don't forget. Like William Hathaway said, she fought for the sexual harassment bill on city. Yeah, that
cancer.
She came in and boom.
I don't know how anybody could say anything about Gail because she sacrificed her whole life for Newark. That's the truth.
She did a lot. I do got to bring her on to ask her why continue to sacrifice for these people.
I'm gonna tell Gail that you're gonna bring her on. Look, everybody that knows me and Gail that are intimate with Gail and I, they don't understand it. I'm like, I call Gail. I say, this is what it is. What it is. Now, Gail is very capable of saying, screw you. I don't believe in that. I mean, Gail, when people say, oh, Kevin's telling Gail what to do, I would love to.
No, I don't believe that either. No,
they do that with every strong black man and strong. I've been married to Gail going on 31 years.
You guys have two different points of views.
We do.
And the way you work together though is magical because you're totally opposite.
I told somebody about 3 weeks ago, I said, I've been married for 31 years. So every decade, Gail said, I'm divorcing your ass. I said, where you going? I can laugh about it because after 31 years, who gives a fuck? Right. I'm like, so she was telling me, I'm divorcing your ass. I was like, well, okay, all right, then what do you want? One of the things you have to do when you've been married a long time, you got to figure out the magic, right? Right. You got to try to work through the conflict. And you just got to hold your breath. 31 years. When you talk about a married couple for 50 years, I say, I never slept on anybody's sofa. But my thing is, she's unique and I have my perspective. And like somebody called me up about a week ago. Well, Gail did this whole thing about HUD. I said, well, what's wrong? I said, well, she was in the Hill, which is the biggest outlet in America, talking about HUD and housing. You have a problem with that? Well, she mentioned Doge. Well, Clinton did Doge, Obama did Doge, and they're trying to find ways. So you got a problem with that? I said, you know what's wrong with you? You got a fucking brain virus. You need to go to sleep and take some medicine. Because Gail's not stupid. Everything she said about housing was going to happen. Look what's happening now. Everything she said about the homeless, look what's happening now. Whatever she said about the medical outcomes, look what's happening now. Whatever she said about education, how are you going to dispute a black woman, for the sake of saying black woman, that's got more balls than any black woman and a man in this fucking state, in this country?
That's true.
Now, you're going to like me.
That's true.
But you can't lie about her, right?
No, definitely can't. Definitely can't. Definitely can't.
Well, so Kima, they don't know when Gail be against me on shit. My friends laugh. They say, Gail ain't with that shit. I said, okay. Well, you bring your data, I'll bring my data. So after 2 hours, Gail said, Kevin, I can't say it this way, but I see it now. And you know what? That's all I want. Why do I want to be right? I don't give a damn about that.
Yeah, I know you don't. But what about, let's talk about Alina Habba in Newark taking Mayor Raz J. Baraka's invitation and touching down and
Well, first of all, it demonstrated a lot of hubris for him to come after her. But I now know why he came after her and said that stupid stuff. That was a political miscalculation, and I know he probably regrets it. I really
Yeah,
mean,
he thought
you
she
don't go after
wasn't
a
going
top
to
cop.
come.
You don't
I
go after a
wouldn't have
real
said
top cop.
anything.
Well, you don't go after a
I would,
top cop that's really going to be a top cop. We haven't had
I would have
a
kept my
competent.
mouth shut,
Well, we haven't had
especially
a
with
competent.
Newark.
Well, Sakima, we haven't had a competent U.S. Attorney General. Well, unfortunately, since Chris Christie, and I was against what he
Okay,
did. Now I was against
okay,
what he did, but we haven't had an attorney general that understands institutional corruption like she does.
okay.
And she said in her take when she went to arrest those young men, I don't know what their charges was. I don't understand. I really didn't pay attention. The one thing, if you go back and watch the tape, she says, "My streets."
I like that. I like that.
I was
I
like,
like
okay.
that.
So
I
all
like
of this corruption and institutional corruption,
I
she's
like
going to
that.
deal with. This ain't about Kevin. This ain't about you. It's about institutional corruption. It's not about $10,000 in graft, $20,000 in graft, any of that. It's literally about institutional corruption. What Elon Musk is demonstrating is what institutional corruption looks like. Newark has been
Mhm.
running several structural deficits.
Right,
We've been in
right,
the red,
right.
and he's still trying to promote that Newark is in a healthy situation. Newark is actually
No.
bankrupt and broke. Seriously.
Are we looking bad like Detroit?
Well, Detroit actually is doing much better than Newark right now. They got
Right.
more
I mean,
phones than
no, when
Newark.
they went bankrupt,
It's
when it
slightly
got
well, one
really
of the
bad
things
for
about New
them.
Jersey, they keep propping up these failed towns,
Okay.
the municipal governments, and a lot of them would probably be bankrupt without federal and state funding. Like in
Mm,
Newark right now, it's like 50 to 60,000 people, people that own real estate that's paying taxes. But what I found out today, Sakima, and I don't do the research. People actually do it. I really don't do the research.
but you
But they're
read the
saying
results,
they're
right?
saying to me that in the last 8 years, there's been more outsiders buying real estate in Newark in the history of the city of Newark.
Wow.
What does
Wow.
that tell
Now,
you?
what about the land bank and
All of
the
that, all of
mayor?
that,
Oh,
all of
it's
that.
for the
The count.
people and the community. And then you go down there and you can't even bid on a property.
Well, the council has demonstrated a lack of capacity. I give you an example. Newark is the Faulkner Act, so you have a strong mayor, strong council. So
Okay.
why do you need all of these other agencies to control your property when the council is supposed to depose? I think it's oppose a property. The council has usurped its power. The council is a kangaroo court. They're not protecting the interest of Newarkers. If you look at the contracts they're voting on, it's all anti-Newark. It's all anti-taxpayer.
Yeah. 25-year tax abatements.
Well,
Nobody's paying taxes.
what's Akima?
But they're
20
getting
years.
land and property to develop and charge astronomical rent. They're
Well,
making money. We're not.
Well, first of all, majority of the buildings that were just developed in the city of Newark are probably 30% occupied.
Mm,
And that's a shame. Who
yeah.
wants to live downtown in a dark corridor where you don't even know anybody's going to hit you upside the head? Every building I drive by got all this graffiti on it. And I'm like, well, why are you painting buildings with all of that? That's like putting lipstick on a pig. Right. And I'm like, and I'm really, I don't know if anybody is offended by it.
Oh,
Maybe they're
man.
used to it. But the city of Newark is,
Lipstick on a pig. Wink,
when you
wink,
go through these
baby.
buildings, if you go in the South Ward, the West Ward, they destroyed the Central Ward. I think Gail's going to do it.
Oh my gosh. Yes, the Central Ward is a disaster.
It's the economic engine of the state and of the
But
city.
it's a disaster right now. It looks like a tornado came through there.
I know. And
Trash everywhere.
I'm very prayerful, and I mean this, and a lot of people know I'm very spiritual. I'm not religious, but I'm very spiritual.
Okay.
And I pray that, as a community of people, no matter where you sit on the political spectrum, that that you've been screwed.
Yeah.
And the hubris of him running for governor is a joke. And what I understand, that's like, I've traveled so much. They've been looking for progressive mayors like him to mix it up a little bit. He's promoting illegal immigration. He did nothing for housing. He did nothing for homeless. He did nothing for employment. All he did was bankrupt the city.
Where is the lawsuit against the slumlords, the developers who aren't taking care of their properties, but there's a lawsuit against ICE
Yeah,
for
I mean,
people.
well,
I don't understand that. Where's the lawsuit?
he's pro illegal immigration, illegal immigration. He doesn't
Why are
want
they
illegals
working for
coming
him?
here in this place. Let me tell you about illegal
Are they
immigration.
building his house in Ghana or something? What's going on?
I don't even want to discuss that. That's the biggest joke ever. I'm not going to discuss that. I mean, I've been to Ghana several times, and God bless him. I wish him the best of luck on his business endeavors, because I think that's the biggest bull crap ever.
I'm just trying to figure out, like, what's the reason? Just like Cory Booker's 24-hour filibuster, when Democrats have been fighting to curb filibusters because they interrupt the business of Congress and getting things done. I'm just confused about their direction. I don't. What is their mission?
I'm not.
What is their mission to destroy the community?
The Demolition Party is a cult. The radical left has bamboozled Black people for decades. Malcolm X spoke about it. Martin Luther King spoke about it. Sidney Poitier spoke about it. I can go on and on and on how many Black Americans understood the con job that they were engaging in and with us about fighting their battles. When feminism came, white women benefited from it. When DEI came, white women voted from it. I mean, you want to go on, I could go on and on and on. And that's not an attack on Black or white women. But we can create all, and look, we're still using the term minority set aside when majority of the cities in Essex County is predominantly ran by Black men, Black council, Black judiciary.
Right. That's what I'm confused about. Wait a minute. Like, where's the racism? Where's the racism if everybody is Black?
Well, they say racism to Black Americans and we get all charged up. But I got to tell you something. And I got to say this in a very proud way. I think Black Americans are over that. Only the brainwash is still buying that. Only these women that go around talking about professional women, when I laugh at them, I say, all you do is got a job. Do you have a man? I said, well, you ain't got a husband. You don't know how to be a wife. Or God bless you. I wish you the best of luck. Keep your career and God bless you. And when they come to me, I'm a professional woman. I say, look, you just got a job. And when they're going to get rid of you, they're going to get rid of you. But you don't know how to be a wife. You want me to be a husband. You don't want me to be, you don't know how to be a wife. And this is what Black women, young women need to figure out. Because what they were sold, my mother, who I believe is one of the smartest women on the planet, was against feminism in the 1960s and 70s and 80s. She said, that doesn't represent my community. It doesn't represent my marriage. And, this whole thing about women being independent, all that bullshit, you see where it got us. A lot of Black women sitting home like, I don't have a man. Well, nobody wants you now. I say, God bless you. You're more masculine than I am. Who the hell wants you? I mean, you trying to punch me.
I got to bring a feminist on to speak to that. I can't really speak to that because,
Why?
I'm not in that lane.
No,
I'm not looking for. Look, I have the men I have in my life are great. I have my father. I have my brother. Look, I have my brother. I have my son, and rest in peace, my uncle. I have my uncle and my grandfather.
And you're still a woman,
right?
That knows her role. Like I know my role. Look, everybody knows I'm married to a tough girl. Right?
Okay.
And she's got her own thoughts. And I adore her for that. But my wife is a wife. My wife is a friend. My wife is a supporter. If she wasn't any of that, she would be about her goddamn self.
Okay.
Because I don't need that. I don't need somebody more masculine than me. I don't need somebody telling me, well, I'm independent. Well, stay independent. That's why nobody wants you.
See, I gotta bring them on. See, because I know they'll be able to counter that. I can't counter that because
you're a mother. Are you a mother?
Right. I'm a mother.
Are you a sister? Are you a sister?
Yes.
You have a father.
Yes, I'm a woman. I'm a woman, Kevin. But I don't know what I don't know what this independent woman thing means. I don't know. I'm a free thinker.
Being a free thinker.
So I don't know if that sounds different, right? So I need to bring the women that claim to be independent on, so they're
independent without a man. So let's move on. Look, you have to understand. I don't know if you
Independent
noticed,
and
Fatima,
manless.
I have two beautiful daughters. Everybody knows I adore my daughters. I adore them. I have a
Awesome.
I think, very strong wife, right? My mother is
Yes, yes.
cold-blooded gangster. My sister
Yeah,
is
yeah,
brilliant. All of my
yeah.
aunts could hold their own, but guess what they were? They were women, they were
Right.
wives, and they understood their role in the family like I understood mine. They raised me to be a leader. They raised me to be a fighter. They raised me to be educated. They raised me to stand. Everything they did for me was not to
Hmm.
make me soft, but to make
Right.
me a man to protect them.
Right.
Like
Okay.
my brother was the protector of this family. He allowed me to go around doing what I wanted to do. I only stepped in when he said, "Look, you got to step in." But my
Okay.
brother was the leader of this family. I mean, I wasn't.
Okay.
I laugh about that all the time. I say, guys, I can't stand that my brother's left planet Earth because
Wow.
I said my brother controlled everything. And anybody that knows his family really, really well, I didn't run shit. My brother would call me up and curse me out, tell me kind of stuff. I'm like, okay, okay, okay. But he and my men and my
I'm
family,
still on.
that's all right. We're very proud of our relationship with the women in our family, and we're very proud of our relationship with each other. So I mean, I
Okay.
miss my brother. I miss my family members that have passed on, and I'm trying to be the best example that I can be for them. But one of the things my
Right.
mother and father taught me to do is to show love and be respectful. I love people. I respect people.
Right.
When you come from me, I'm gonna beat the shit out of you.
I hear you on that one. I hear now.
Talking
I'm
about
not.
me
Look,
ain't helping you.
I'm not trying to fight a man, so I hear you on that one. I mean, I need to call my brother or my father up, and I try to stay away from those situations until I need to
Well, I
really
called you
call
and
them.
asked you how you doing. How you doing, baby? How you
Right,
doing?
right, 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 right.
You
That's
doing all
true.
right? I said, okay, call me later. I gotta go.
Right, and that's true. See, yeah, see, I know that part. So I guess the independent women are out here trying to fight men, and I don't know. I can't do that. I'm not. That's not my part.
I call you because I value what you do as a human being, not because
Thank
as a
you.
woman. I don't care what your sexual orientation is. I really don't give a shit. I really
Right.
do not care. I am not. I think that people that grew up with me, it's funny. I probably got more gay friends. Well, they equal because I
Okay.
grew up with men. I'm cold blooded,
Right. Right.
but I grew up with gay people that I adore.
Uh huh.
If anybody knows me, I had some close friends that were gay. That when they died, I died with them
Oh man.
because we were brothers. It was not about
Right.
the sexual
Yeah.
orientation. They were
Yeah.
men. We loved each other, respect each other. One of my dear friends, me and Gail's dear friend, and we have a lot of them, named Keith Rowe, was me and Gail. I called him Gail's husband. We used to laugh. I said, Gail, that's your husband. I ain't your goddamn husband. That's a fucking husband. We used to laugh. But when he died, it changed me.
Oh
It hurt me
wow.
to my core.
Mm.
And we haven't celebrated Christmas in 7 years since he died. This is the first
Oh
Christmas next
man.
year that I'm going to be celebrating because he was so intricately involved in our life cycle. And he
Right.
was my dear friend, and he protected me and protected Gail. He loved us, but he basically was Gail's husband. I tell people, Keith would go and tell Gail, screw Kevin. I'm telling you what, I was like, okay, go ahead and do it. And then at night, I was like, I'm not, and you know what? Because it's about love.
Right.
It's
Right. Right. Right.
about love. I think that
See, yeah, I know. I
love
know.
is very important,
It
love,
is. It
and I'm about
is.
loving people, until you do something that disrespects my family, disrespects me, or does something that was not necessary. We can have a disagreement. I might not like you. If you read my
Right.
post, it's never personal.
No, it's not. It's direct and straight to the point.
Right.
But on that independent note, like I like the door being held for me. I see them let the door close in the independent women's faces, and I'll be like, damn.
Well, if you don't,
I'll be like, oh man, don't do that to me.
if you don't promote that kind of thing, so
I like when gentlemen help carry my things, my boxes, and they're not trying
you know who
to
cleans
go on
my
a
house?
date or anything. I'm
You
like,
know. Hey, Sakima, you know who cleans my house?
who,
And
who?
we have cleaning people could come in, but you know who clean I do.
Oh wow,
Because
see,
my parents were like Patton. Gail
That's
always laughs.
nice.
And everybody that knows is saying, well, Kevin's going to clean the whole. I clean out before a cleaning person comes, I clean the whole house. I'm like anal like that. All of my friends laugh at me. They say, Gail, you got the best deal in town, you know. But
I feel you. I
I'm
feel my
built like that.
father does the same thing for my mother.
Right.
My father, you know, and
I just
he
I,
cooks when
I
she's
got up
tired of
yesterday.
cooking.
I got up yesterday and I was in a real crazy mood. I did a couple of calls in the morning. I started cleaning. The only thing I got
Wow.
left now is the 2 bathrooms, right? Everybody laughed. They said, Kevin, you really? I said, listen, that's help. That helps this, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah,
And
yeah. Well, you
I
taking care
enjoy it.
you taking care of your family.
I enjoy
You
it. I
taking care
enjoy
of
it.
your
Anything to
family.
make it easier for my family, especially Gail. She always has a lot of pressure on her. And I'm like, Gail, I'll do it. Don't worry about it. Now,
That's
we're
awesome,
just like
man.
every married couple in the world. We would take out our daggers in a minute at each other, like, I don't want to hear that shit. Right? That's what marriages are about, right?
It is, because I see my parents and I love that I get to see them, you know, and I do have parents that are still together, and I
That's
get to see that
wonderful.
dynamic of two
Mm.
people working together. You know, they have their moments, like you
I
said, where
don't
they
know
pull
how.
out their daggers, but at the end of the day, they're
Fatima,
cool and they're friends. And I'll be
I
like,
don't
oh
know
my
how
God.
Gail lived with me for 31 years. You know why? Because I am completely, I am Felix at a whole nother level on steroids.
Wow.
I'm
Wow.
very cerebral in a very interesting way. I don't know how that girl puts up with me sometimes. I know she was like want to punch me in my mouth if she could. I'm like, because I just don't. I just call bullshit what it is, and she's
Right,
always
right.
asked me to be nice. I said I'm not being fucking nice to that person. You
Right,
know,
right,
and
right.
it's a great thing when you can.
It is. It is.
Look, when I
And
first
I
married
like
her, they
seeing
thought me
that.
and Gail were going to be married a week.
You were trying to jump ship that early?
No, you got 2 AAA personalities marrying each other. Come on now, come on.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Come on now. I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
after we're going on 31 years.
Wow.
So I'm
Blessings
like,
to
what?
you
And you know, she'll come
guys.
in here right now and cold cop me about some stuff. I'm like, I don't want to hear.
I already know.
Anyway,
I got to see it growing up, and I would be like, I wish those two just go their separate ways. They need a divorce or something. But they
no,
always
you
would
know what
come
though?
back
I mean,
at the
we didn't
end.
marry each other to be, agree on everything. And
Right.
guess what? My
And you
politics
need that.
is not harmful. I'm just not buying all of the bull crap,
Right.
And what Booker did the other day, I thought was absolutely hilarious.
Where was he going with it? Because it went over my head. You
Well,
had
all it
the
is
cheerleaders.
stagecraft. All it is stagecraft. If you know anything about Booker's history, he came into Newark, conned everybody, paid everybody off, and Black Americans don't have enough Black Americans were interesting when Cory Booker came on, and
Mm.
it's just a very interesting thing. I can
Look,
go into it like in great length, but look what he's done for Newark. Look when he was the mayor, and look what he did as a U.S. senator. He's done nothing for the country, nothing for the state, and nothing for the city.
and
He can't listen. If
you
he comes to Newark, I don't think he can get 150 people to come to a meeting.
wow.
Nobody trusts him because they know his
Wow.
history. Now, all
So
of those people
somebody said
online,
what is it? 10,000%.
yeah,
They
all
agree
of
with
those
you
people
too.
online talking about he's doing a great thing, they're paid advertisers because look,
Okay.
when I'm in Florida, when I'm in Texas, when I'm in Boston, nobody thinks he's a serious guy. Now I'm telling you, I know I tell you this all the time, but I've been all over this country.
Right.
If you say Cory Booker's name, they bust out laughing. You know what they say? Really,
What?
literally?
What?
Spartacus. That's all they remember him for.
Oh, they're still calling him Spartacus.
And that thing that he did, I told everybody, he's the fattest vegan I ever met in my life outside of a gorilla and an elephant.
Oh, wow.
we
That's
were,
a good point. That's a good point.
he
I
been
think
bullshitting
a
people.
Triceratops was vegan too.
You know how you go into your house, sometimes you can feel bad. And, sometimes we're human. So we got all kinds of emotions when we're by ourselves. But I think you could go in the mirror and identify what kind of person you are.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think Cory Booker, when he looks in the mirror, he's like cellophane. You can look right through him. There's a
Wow.
song in Chicago, and it was really our take on an African-American actor, dancer, or whatever. And I forgot his name, but if you go back and look at Chicago, the movie or the Broadway play, There's this part of the movie, the play, when Cellophane Man, Mr. Cellophane, Mr.
Oh
Cellophane.
yeah,
I know your
yeah.
name. Well,
Remember
that's
that?
Cory
Yeah,
Booker.
yeah.
You can
Oh
look right through him.
wow.
That's Cory Booker. And I always say that's the most important song for Cory Booker. Mr. Cellophane, do you
It,
know my name? I mean, I love that song. I know the
yeah.
whole history of who that person was. I think it was Bo
Wow.
Jenkins. I think of one of them. And I'm saying, when you look at Cory Booker, anybody that's listening to this show, can you really tell me what the hell he stands for and what he really cares about?
My thing is, how did he cram all that work into 24 hours but did nothing in his terms?
No,
If
no.
people are sending you these letters,
No.
what are you doing about it?
Here's the worst part about it, right? For 18 years, I don't know how many, I can't remember all these things anymore. Nobody can tell me what Cory Booker did for anybody but for himself. Now, you know, Cory Booker controls Newark Net, right? He tells
Really?
he tells Rise Baraka what to do.
Wow. How
He's
though?
already measuring his business. He's already
Wow.
measuring his business to his cohorts already. He controls
Mm.
Cory Booker, who destroyed Newark, and the guy that was supposed to be the most radical mayor, when I become mayor, you become mayor, got dirty water, dirty streets, bad education, crime, bad government, whatever. We could go on and on. We could talk about to the moon. And
Yeah, yeah.
I
Man,
don't think
Baraka
people yourself.
even praised Cory Booker for what he did. And I'm like, but what did he do? You sat up there for 24 hours to do a
Well, here's the
filibuster?
deal. Here's the deal. I don't
What's
know
the
if it's worth our. I don't even know if it's worth our time trying to figure out what he
But
did.
then look, check this out too, Kevin. The fact that he did that stalled business. Trump, if Trump wants, he can just put out executive orders
Well, here's the deal.
for whatever
No
he
one
tried
can
to
tell me.
stall.
No one can tell me. No one. I haven't heard one person that logically can tell me if Trump is doing something bad for this country. So I'll give you an example. We had 20 million, 15 million illegal immigrants that we gave all of our resources. They got health care, they got housing,
Mhm.
they got allotments, they got everything. I don't even remember. And they came in, and we are already a permanent class as Black Americans in this country. They
Okay.
were over us in this country. They came in
Okay.
illegal and got access to everything and more over us. And I think every Black American understands that. We're a permanent class. And that was done under the Democratic Party.
Okay. Okay.
So listen what I'm trying to say. The Democratic Party opened up the floodgates for illegal immigrants to come and to displace us because they realized, if they look at the trending, that Black Americans was tired of the slave program that the Democrats were selling us. So they said,
Okay.
we got to displace Black Americans. We got to get another class of people. They gave them everything when they gave us nothing. And you still got Black people out there talking about Donald Trump. What? Are you kidding me? Okay, so when it came to tax policies, when he was in office the last time, we got more money in our pockets. When it came to COVID, somebody said, well, he's not responsible for giving us the $2,200. Well, who the hell was? The Senate was controlled by I think Trump, and the Congress was controlled by the Democrats, but he had to sign off on it. It would have never happened. He didn't sign off on it. Who signed off on it? But him. So people talk a lot. People emotionalize things a lot. They don't even know what they're talking about. So when it came to wars all around the country in 2016, we're not in the war. I don't think that Trump should be focused on Yemen. I don't think Trump should be focused on any other country but this country. I don't think he should have bombed Yemen. I don't think he should let everybody fight their own wars and kill their own selves. We have 200 and some odd bases all around the country. It's not to protect us. It's to protect the wealthy and the military industrial complex. That's it. So when you talk about tariffs, everybody's saying, "Oh my God, prices are going up." Oh, what? Guess what? They've been robbing this country. NAFTA was a bad policy. I supported NAFTA when I was younger. But when you analyze NAFTA, it was a bad policy for us. It stripped us of all of our ability to have companies building in this company. We offshored them. The wealthiest people benefited from it. Trump is saying, if you are tariffing us 50%, we're going to tariff you 50%. What's wrong with that? What is wrong with that? There's an equalizer.
I don't think, I think the issue is that people are emotionalizing things and just not doing their research,
But they're never
because
going to do research.
even with the immigration issue, the illegal immigration issue, there is a law on the books that says you have to come into this country through this way, blah, blah, blah. And other countries have those laws on their books too. And what I'm confused about is, why is it okay to break the law in that case? You know what I mean?
How many black men?
I'm a
Let
little
me ask you a
confused.
question. How many black men have been in prison in this country during
Right,
the Clinton and
right.
Biden
That's what I'm
administration?
saying.
So we should let all of them go. Outside of murderers,
Right.
rapers, and pedophiles, all of those should go. So if you want to
Right.
give permission to the illegal immigrant to benefit from this country and criminalize this country, but you're going to lock up black men, white poor men from rural. I mean, it's everybody. Why are we?
It's
See, this is
crazy.
the argument I have. What are you talking
crazy.
about? Right.
Yeah, it's crazy, because even with my personal situation and dealing with the city and them arresting me, and I wasn't even guilty, and they threw everything out like, oh my gosh, we're so sorry. Well, they didn't even apologize. But the fact that, how could I be arrested for doing nothing and somebody can break the law? They're breaking. I didn't even break a law.
You have black Americans.
I didn't even, Kevin, look, I didn't even break a law, and I was in handcuffs in an orange jumpsuit.
You got black Americans talking about due process. I'm like, what do you mean due process? Well, the Constitution says. Oh, so now you're concerned about the Constitution when you stripped me my constitutional rights when I was fighting against mandates, or Americans were fighting against mandates, fighting against COVID. You were censoring us. You even use foreign countries to target us. So all of a sudden now you want to talk about fucking democracy? Listen, I want everybody to know in America. Democracy, we are not a excuse my language first, I got to apologize. We're not a democracy. Anytime you hear the word democracy, that means they want mob rule. And they do mob rule. Look what happened in France when Le Pen, who was beating Macron, they put her in jail and said she can't run for 5 years. That's a fascist country. What they're doing in Germany, the same thing. What they're doing in Europe, the same thing. Not in Italy, but the rest of Europe, they're all fascists and Marxists. But you talking about America or Trump being a fascist and a Marxist, that's not possible in this country because we have a strong constitution. We're a constitutional republic. You know what?
And we have free will. We're walking around doing and saying what we want to say.
Well, we don't have free will anymore because guess what they tried to do during COVID? They stripped us of our freedom.
Oh, yeah, they did. Yeah,
I am a freedom of speech purist. So if college students are out there marching against something they don't believe in, they need to be supported. If you're forcing colleges to change their policies to help another foreign country, well, I'm not with that. Now, that's where, like, if you ask me what I don't like about this administration, that I don't like. Now, if you ask a Democrat what they don't like administration, they can't tell you. I'm not a partisan. I am a transactional human being that's involved in how can I use public policy? How can I use government to advance my group?
Right. And you know what? Even with the immigration thing, just go and change the policy.
Look, anybody illegal, if you've been in this country for 10 years illegal, get out. If you've been in this country, now this is where I draw the line.
Still, Kevin, there's a way to do that if you want to change it.
Coming to the country, no, don't change.
No, I'm saying if people wanted to change it, the people that are legal citizens and here lawfully, if they wanted to change it, all they do is get out, go get their people into office, write some legislation and change it.
Can I tell you something? You had a Democratic Congress, a Democratic Senate,
right? And they didn't do it.
They didn't do it.
Yeah, so we already know what that means.
Yeah, it's all bull crap. And you know what? That's a very good point you're bringing up, though. And thank you because we addressed it. But hey, look.
And everyone's mad at Trump because he's changing things. The same way that they could have done it.
The average person is so brainwashed. They don't know, man. They don't know why they're mad.
And I'm not even a Trump supporter. I'm just.
You know what? Can I be honest with you?
But look, I'm just watching what he's doing, and I'm like, okay, he's in power now. When the Democrats win and somebody says something about them or criticize them, it's always, oh, they want it fair and square.
The most radicalized anti-American party in America is the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party is anti-American, anti-black, anti-white. They're anti-everything. They have given their power to a group of radical, insane human beings that want to destroy this country. Now, I am a descendant of slaves. I understand slavery. I understand what's global dynamics of what's happening, and I understand it. I know I was raised to understand that, but I'm not going to use it as an excuse not to advance my group, not to advance my people. It's not about race, right? It's not about anything. It's about power and control. And they want power and control of us. That's why we're eating poison food. That's why they're over Ving our people, Ving our people. That's why majority of our kids are terminally and permanently ill. That's why we have the highest rate of autism that we've had in a century in this country. And they all running around talking about, you ready? Measles.
Yeah.
Really? Seriously? So you want to shoot an MMR vaccine that's killing our kids. I always ask people to do me a favor. Don't believe me. Go ask for the insert of all of these medicines and all of these vaccines that they're promoting. Let me give you a snapshot. So you're a pregnant woman.
Right.
You carried your baby for 9 months.
Right.
You did all of the healthy things you need to do to really take God's creation and give it the greatest opportunity with the cleanest body, cleanest immune system, cleanest DNA, and while you're having your baby, when they take your baby, they'll go and shoot your baby with poison.
Yeah.
And they tell you, if you don't do it, we're going to take your child. If you don't do it, we're not going to let you out of the hospital. What the fuck? Really? Yeah. Seriously? And that's what they've been doing to Black young women in this country, white young women in this country, white and Black families, Latino families. They've been destroying our children. Peanut allergies, obesity, skin rat. They shoot 70. We went from in the 80s 3 shots to now 79. How in the hell can any human being take 79 shots of poison and be normal? Right. And you know what Black people are saying? What? Well, but let me tell you what I think is happening right now. It's statistics. No one is following the vaccine scheduling anymore. Parents are not taking their kids to be poisoned anymore. My grandchild, and I shouldn't say this, is clean. She's pure blood. Okay. She will never take a vaccine. If you even try to force her, you're going to have to deal with this family because we understand it. Right. You did the research and yeah. People still wearing masks. That's brainwashing at a whole nother level. I have a friend. Yeah. And I put the mask on. Look. People they putting the mask on, like shoveling shit down their nose and their mouth. They got all this phlegm and all. Wow. I'm sorry. It sounded like Darth Vader I care about people, but that brainwashing is deep. Wow. Now, what do you think, from your point of view, a Republican governor? It's going to be great for New Jersey. For Newark, though. What about Newark? Is Newark going to get some love? I want this governor to clean the schools up, and I want this governor to clean institutional corruption up. And I think we need to evaluate how these cities are spending their money because this waste. The waste is just unbelievable. And if he can do those couple of things and really change policy to put more money in your pocket, stop the overtaxing, start really talking about real health issues that are impacting our children and families, right? Mm-hmm. Making this state healthy again, making our community more fiscally responsible. I love that. What about these tax abatements, though? Tax abatements. Well, let me just tell you this. Those in Newark? Well, let me just tell you this. They're killing us. Let's be honest with each other. 10 years ago, I was pro-tax abatement. 20 years ago, I was tax abatement because I understood where the city was growing from. Right. Now, I think that, and I'm not speaking for Gail, I speak for myself because I understand development. I don't think anybody on this line could tell me anything about this business. Right. I think that we're oversaturated with tax abatements, and I think it's harmed our city. I think that all of these housing developers are getting rich on the backs of poor people in the city of Newark. And I have some ideas. I have some ideas, but I've shared them privately with Gail, and she's going to do her research as she always does because she's very smart in these spaces. Look, all of these people that are running for office are probably nice people in the Central Ward. I'm not disqualified. You will never hear me say anything about good people running for office. I think that's our constitutional right. But I can tell you, if you're not prepared to lead this city and prepared to lead this town or not town, but this
That ward,
community, the
Central
Central
Ward,
Ward.
right?
I mean, you can't dispute Gail's capacity to lead. You can't dispute her ability to understand complicated issues. You can't understand, you don't even understand how to interact with corporations. And she's
Right.
just uniquely, even
And,
if I wasn't married to her, I would
uh-huh.
be attracted to somebody, man or woman, that had that high level of understanding of how to
Right.
operationalize government. I mean, and I have to be careful because she is my wife, but the people that really know me, they know I am brutal when
Yeah,
it
I know. Yeah, you I know. Now my thing is this. Like you said, the people are probably great people, but why, when we talk about unity and the people need to come together, why not get behind the best candidate? I'm not saying she has to be the only one running, but you got like 8 people running.
Well, listen, let me just put it to you this way. Those are nice people, and I wish them the best of luck, but people are going to get behind the right candidate. They
Okay.
will. They'll get. I'm not confused by that, and I'm not saying anything negative about anybody because that's not my role. The only time I
No,
speak
I'm not
negative,
saying it's negative,
no,
but
no, no, no. But I'm saying to you, from my perspective, they don't stand a chance. You know why? Because they
why?
don't know how to look. If you look at their lives now, wait a minute. I know some people that are running for the Century Ward. I would give them $100,000 tomorrow if I can, if I had it, because
Right,
they're really
right,
good people. I mean, I'm not. Sean
right.
McCray to me is an American hero.
Yeah, I like that.
I, I
I
have
like Sean
nothing.
McCray too.
I think that young man is phenomenal. Anybody say anything about that young man? I wouldn't even allow Gail to say anything. And Gail really loves him.
Yeah,
But this is
he's really
different kind of.
good.
But this is a different kind of business. Gail
Right.
is a legislator leader that understands how to build cities, build local economies.
So we don't
Understand.
need anybody that says, "Oh, just give me a chance."
Well, guess what?
I don't
We
think
did
we
that.
do in
We did that
Central.
already.
Right, right. Yeah,
You know who we
yeah.
gave a chance to? Ras Baraka.
I
You know
know.
who we
But
gave a chance
that's the
to?
line that they hit us with.
These council people, right? I mean, so
Yeah,
I
yeah.
need to be very clear. And I'm saying this in a very sincere way. I think everybody has the right to run. And I have every right to break them out of running again for the rest of their lives.
See, yeah, I hear what you're
I'm
saying.
not saying
Everybody
nothing bad
has the
about
right to
anybody.
run, but some people shouldn't.
Well, you know what, though? I can't tell people that. Listen, people,
It's
you know,
unrealistic.
I when it came to breast cancer, Gail was for it. When look, you just go back and look at the trajectory
Yeah,
of
I
her
know.
career
I've seen her
from
work.
30 years old to 60 something. The
I've
girl
seen it.
is talented. Now,
I've seen it.
I think the Central Ward has to make a decision, and I think they will make the right decision. And if you look at if you look at the federal level, we can address that in so many different ways. But getting rid of waste, getting rid of spending money, abusing
Yeah.
money, and Medicaid, and what's the other thing I was going to say? Oh, I had a brain fart right there.
It was education.
And it was the other one. I just got a brain fart. I'll come back to it. I'm getting a little old now, Sakima. I can't remember everything. You got to get me when you could get me.
I know.
Look, I love having fun. People think I'm just this serious guy. You know me. I laugh all the time. I
Yeah,
crack
yeah,
jokes. I
yeah.
don't take it
You
serious.
laugh. You get straight to the point though.
And I
Like
laugh.
you
And
said, you gotta break some people out of ever running again.
well, but let me tell you something now. One of the things I love about Gail and people like her, you could run against her and you could come to her office and she will help you. Darren Sharif, when he
Yeah.
lost, Gail helped him. If any one of
Wow.
those other people lost, I got to tell you, I think she loves McCray. Gail loves McCray.
She's definitely a people person though.
She loves him. She loves
She's
him.
definitely,
He's a good
someone.
man. He's a good man. If anybody says he's not a good man, you're a liar. That's a
Yeah,
good
he
man. And
is.
all of those other people that are running, they got to proof up. They got some
Right.
woman running around. I don't know her name, so I got to get to know her. But I forgot her name. I'm not really good with names anymore. But when I figure out who she is, I know she's a fucking lunatic. But guess what? She has the
What?
right. Wait a minute. She has the right to run. I'm sorry. I'm from the old school. Everybody
Yeah.
has the right to publicly go out and say why they should be elected. I'm sorry. I respect that.
Even
We
if
are a
they
constitution.
waste that time.
It doesn't make a difference. We're a constitutional republic. I'm a purist. And when it comes to those things,
I feel you, but come on, some people are just wasting time.
But they
Kevin.
gotta,
Some people are wasting
Newark
time.
has to make that decision. But to be honest with you, you brought me on your show and we talk periodically. I'm not going to disqualify anybody's ability to run. What I'm focused on is making sure that the person that I love, the person that I've watched evolve, the person that has done so much for New Jersey, so much for the state, that she can come back and really try to heal this city and bring this city together and unify us so we can really start to care about our children. See, for me right now, at the part of my life right now, I'm only concerned about children now. I'm not concerned about adults.
Yeah, the future. The future. Right.
I'm really, I'm emotional about how are we going to protect these kids to make sure they're not going to be a permanent underclass in the future. So we are sending our kids to these colleges. Oh, my daughter has a degree in political science. What? All of those degrees are a waste. If you're not doing artificial intelligence and technology and systems analysis, and you're done.
Okay. Where'd you go, Kevin? You disappeared on us. Okay, Kevin did a Houdini. But get into the comments, people.
I know that I had another meeting, but what else you want to talk about before I leave? Because
we can wrap it up.
I'm going to be here for another week. So
okay.
Whatever you want.
Okay.
Let me say something about you, Sakima, before we go. First of all, Cory Booker is a cartoon character. Second of all, the city is completely broke and financially ruined. Nobody's working in City Hall anymore. We have a legislature at the state level for 30 years that have done nothing for us. I'm not talking about just Black people, done nothing for us. And I'm saying to you, your show is very important.
Thank you.
And I got to say this to you, and you know how cagey I am about being on people's stuff. I joke and laugh, but I appreciate you inviting me on just to have a candid conversation.
Right.
I don't have any talking points when I'm talking to you. You want to talk about global economics. You want to talk about regional economics. You want to talk about local economics. You want to talk about religion. You want to talk about all of these things. Because I've been in those spaces all of my life, I can have a great conversation with you, whether you like it or not. And if you don't like it, proof up and say that I'm wrong. And I am comfortable with that.
And I appreciate that too.
But what I'm seeing now in this country, and especially Black America, I'm sad.
Well, you said it was going to get to this point too. Yeah. You said you've mentioned in the past how Black people are underclass and things don't get done, and we get these Black leaders and they don't build up the community. They just
they're gatekeepers for poverty. Majority of your Black men in America, they're there to
keep it going.
They manage poverty. Majority of your nonprofits in this country, they're not innovative. They're just there to manage poverty. Majority of foundations that give money to these institutions, they only give money if you want to manage poverty. A lot of these charter schools, which I'm a big fan of school choice. I am all the way school choice because
I'm school choice
but
too.
Majority of these charter schools right now, I'm very suspect of. They're not producing high standards. They're not producing great talent. And majority of our kids that graduate out of high school right now have to take remedial courses for at least 2 years.
Wow. 2 years?
I dare say
that's worse than when I came out of high school.
Before they even matriculate.
Wow, remedial courses.
So we can finish this conversation.
Oh my gosh.
We have to finish this conversation. And look, I want everybody at home to know, care about you, love you. But don't come to me selling bullshit because I ain't buying it.
Right.
One of the people in your threads, Alan Patterson, is probably one of the greatest local economists of our time. And
he's very intelligent.
I tell people, call him up. You ain't gotta like him. He'll break it down for you. And I love you guys. And let's talk later.
We love you too. Yes, thank you for coming on.
My girl, Sakima, I love you.
I appreciate it. Somebody said, can we get an episode of Kevin Jenkins and Eric Dawson for one more time?
Yes, I would have a ball. That's my dearest friend. Look what he's doing with his business. Look at his business. He talked about it on his show, and he's creating in real time.
He did. He
I'm
did.
proud of him.
And you know, that's what our kids need to be doing.
But guess what?
That's the
They don't want to
example. Our
promote a man like
kids,
that. They don't want to promote a masculine man like that that understand. They want to promote beta men. Majority of the men in the political space now are all, well, I got it. Yeah, they're all beta men. I'll leave it right there.
I agree with you. I agree. Majority of them are. They go and ask for
My
permission.
mental state. I'm triggered. Oh, what a bunch of girls. I gotta
Yeah.
go. Hey, listen,
Yeah.
let's keep up. I love you.
Thank you, Kevin.
Um,
Appreciate you.
I got one more week. I mean, I think Gail is tired of my ass anyway.
I gotta reach out to her to have her come on.
I'm gonna set that up for you if I can.
Yes.
And I'm gonna
Yes.
make sure. Okay, darling.
Yes. Definitely.
I had a
Love
lot of
you.
fun. And you look great, babe. Keep up the good
Thank
work.
you. Thank you. I've been taking care of myself.
Don't be
I've been
no ugly ass angry woman. I love you, sweetie.
independent.
And yeah,
I don't need you to hold the door for me. Move.
by themselves. I'm a professional woman. You know when they say you're a professional woman, you just got a job. I talk to you later.
All
Bye,
right,
babe.
Kevin.
Bye-bye.
See you. Oh my gosh. Kevin cracks me up. I love Kevin. I love Kevin. George says we have too many people with guns. I feel sorry for the officer. I'm concerned. 2 kids in Newark got hit by a hit and run driver this week. Yes. So shout out to Donna Jackson for putting out the information on that. And hopefully those 2 people are brought to justice for hitting the kids. And that's so shameful that they would hit the kids and keep going. Who does that? This is how bad it's getting in the city where no one wants to take accountability. If you make a mistake and you messed up, especially something as serious as hitting a child, stop. Or even a person, stop. Make sure they're okay. Maybe you didn't see them. But to just keep going, that's not cool. That's not cool. Vanessa Rose said we're bad. But I do appreciate when Kevin comes on. He gives us his perspective and what his thoughts are, and he keeps it raw and straight to the point. And I know you guys love him. So hopefully I'll have him on more. But yeah, so that's pretty much it for tonight. I don't have anything else left to say. Anybody else? Any comments? Oh, George said they caught one guy. And I think you should really, like he said about health, I think you should really get more into what you're putting in your body. Be more mindful, aware. Try to reduce the processed foods as much as you can. If you can cook at home, try to do more of that, but with veggies and clean meats. I think, yeah, people, we would not be facing so many health issues and all this loss of life from diabetes and strokes and high cholesterol. We need to get back to being healthy and in shape and living as long as we could to enjoy the future of our children, watching them grow up and watching their kids grow up and the kids after that. And yeah, so be mindful about your health. Like I said, I'm drinking hibiscus tea. Just steeped it for 3 minutes, put some honey in it, real honey, threw some ice in it, and it tastes really good. So you don't need all that, nonsense um all the time. Once in a while it's okay. Here and there, but not every day. So I try to get my tea in. But yeah, I try to keep my sugar intake as low as I could. Not too much sugar. I'm trying to check the comments. And thank you everyone for joining too. I appreciate you all. I appreciate you for sharing the show. If you ever want to come on too, just send me a message on Facebook Messenger. I'll respond and we can set up a Thursday. You can come on a live and we can talk about what's going on in Newark and what's going on in the country, what's going on in the state, what's going on next door in New York. I know somebody mentioned, I think it was William Hathaway mentioned Eric Adams running as independent. And then also about the councilwoman in Orange offering 20K, having candidates running for office. That was very interesting. Maybe I should bring her on and ask her about that to go into depth of what this 20K, where this 20K came from, how many people will get this 20K, and basically what's the point. Wow, my camera went out. That's crazy. Hold on. Okay. Okay, I'm back. But yeah, that's my cue to end the show. You all were great. Thank you for joining. I appreciate you all. This has been Current Exposure. And peace. I'm out of here.